Taysom Hill, came in for some relief work with the Drew Brees injury. 88 completions, 121 attempts, 928 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Put up 87 rushing attempts, 457 yards, 8 touchdowns. Your thoughts on Taysom Hill?
I just don't like him. He's a nice piece to it, right? He can add a different layer to the offense. He keeps the defense honest with being able to put them all over the place on the field. He keeps the special teams honest if Sean Payton keeps him on special teams, running down and cracking some of that. So it's not that this kid doesn't have the want to. This Taysom Hill has probably a greater desire to play football than the vast majority of current NFL players. So I when I'm saying this, it's not taking away his want to or desire to play football. His raw natural ability is just not there when you're comparing him to players who play the same position. He's not a tight end, he's a quarterback now. And he is not in the same realm of quarterback as 95% of the league. Like, yes, he takes off and runs, but every time he runs, what does that do? It gets, 5 to 7 yards, and sure, he falls down, but at some point your quarterback's going to get hurt, right? We see this time and time again. Look at Dak Prescott, right? So if you really want Taysom Hill to be your quarterback, do you want him continuing to take those chances time and time again? Are you going to let him get plowed over by 300-pound linemen in the red zone? Or are you going to make him step back and be a pocket passer to some extent? Not completely, but to some extent. And if that's the case, I'm not trusting him. Again, go back to the Bronco game. He averaged less than 200 yards passing per start.
That Sean Payton is still there as the offensive mastermind. And Sean Payton has done everything in his power to put Taysom Hill in a position that he would be a starting quarterback in this league. I think that Sean Payton, this will be the demise of Sean Payton, is Taysom Hill. Because I think that he's going to try to force this into being something that it absolutely is not. So I see Taysom Hill getting probably much more run at quarterback than he should this upcoming season. And that's where I think that, that's where I kind of pump the brakes on a Jameis Winston, because I do think that Taysom Hill gets a much longer leash than a Jameis Winston would. With Sean Payton still there and the love affair that he has with Taysom Hill, because I think that's what he, to your point, Kevin, the kid loves to play football. He is, that gadget player that I think these coaches, they see all of the possibilities of what the gadget player could be without realizing what the gadget player is. And so I think that they have the giant blind spot of what the gadget player is versus everything that the gadget player could be. And that blind spot is it's a demise to what they can accomplish, right? It just does not work. We saw it with Tim Tebow, right? And I'm not saying that Taysom Hill is Tim Tebow, but I'm kind of saying that Taysom Hill is Tim Tebow. It just does not make any sense. It is, but it just does not make any sense why Sean Payton continues to try to force Taysom Hill to be a quarterback in this league, because they want him on the field making plays. And the only person who touches the ball more than the quarterback is the center. And he wants the ball in Taysom Hill's hands.
When you look at the games he started, which were weeks 11, 12, 13, and 14, as far as that goes, he played some of the worst defenses in the league. The best defense that he played was Philadelphia, who was ranked 16th against the quarterbacks in fantasy points given up. So they were actually in the top. They were right at the halfway mark. Every other team was worse in the bottom half of points given up against the quarterback. He played Atlanta twice, who was second worst in the league last year. 31 out of 32 teams against the quarterback and giving up points, in which case he put up good points, but that was because he ran the ball a ton. Didn't necessarily throw the ball, threw the ball, but it was short little dump off type of routes to it. Barely got over 200 yards in both of those games. And it just like you're talking about Sean Payton and being this offensive mastermind and what he can do and all of that. I don't believe that that's what Sean Payton wants to see week in and week out is these constant just 200-yard games out of his quarterback with 80 yards having come on the ground from his quarterback. He's got other pieces around him to do that, such as Alvin Kamara, who is a great playmaker, Latavius Murray, who's a great playmaker as well and can pick up those rushing yards as well as the fact that they've got probably one of the very best wide receivers in the league. I just don't see it happening where Taysom Hill is going to be able to run this offense the way that Sean Payton envisions it running, especially after it coming off of a guy like Drew Brees.